Hello everyone, my name is Eve. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be looking at the messages that are coming through for this very powerful super full moon, blood moon, and lunar eclipse where the moon is in the sign of Sagittarius opposite the sun in early Gemini. Now before we get started, I just want to invite you to look below at the description, follow my Instagram channel if you want to dive a little bit deeper into the messages that I'm bringing through, because I have quite a number of series going on there on my Instagram channel right now. And there's a lot of messages there, and they're much shorter than my YouTube videos, if you are interested. And for any information on the lectures, the meditations that I have, the classes that I'm forming, and booking a session with me, do jump onto my website below, and all the information you need should be there. Feel free to reach out to me through YouTube as well if you want to, okay? I really do love hearing from people, and I will respond. So let's look at this very powerful energy here. A number of things going on here. It is a super moon. What is a super moon? Well, we can have both super full moons and we can have both super new moons. If you do Google it though and look it up, there's a lot more information or emphasis on the super full moons. And why is that? Because when we experience a full moon, it's very evident. There's no escaping the energy of the moon. We can see it. It's calling us in. It's changing the tides. The waves are usually higher. The tides are more delineated during a full moon. Therefore, we're so much more aware of that energy, whereas during a new moon, there's the seed of something new that's wanting to be birthed. And before the new moon, when we're in the dark moon period, about 48 hours prior to the new moon, we're dealing a lot more with the unconscious and superconscious energy. So there's a very big difference between the new moons and the full moons. But both of them can be super moons, because the super moon is about how close the moon comes in its orbit around the Earth. And so the moon is said to come to its closest when it is beyond 90% close on its orbit around the Earth. So that's a pretty large percentile. And it's called a supermoon whenever the moon on its orbit around the Earth reaches that perigee aspect during the full moon or during the new moon. Then it is given the word or the title of a supermoon. Now, what is a blood moon? A blood moon has to be a total eclipse. Always a total lunar eclipse, or one that's almost close to totality. Sometimes it's just shy of totality, and it still can be seen as a blood moon. This year we only have one total lunar eclipse and therefore one blood moon, and it happens to be the second of 3 super full moons. We had the first one back at the end of April, and we will have the third super full moon here on June 24th. However, this will be the most powerful one of the 3 super full moons. Now, we do have 2 super new moons coming in the fall, November 4th and December 4th, I believe. And the December 4th one is happening on the day of the solar eclipse. So this year we have 2 of the eclipses occurring on a super moon, which to me is very exciting. I mean, think about that. During the super moons, the moon is actually, especially during the full moon, it appears 14% bigger. I believe it's 14%. It's 14% closer. It appears maybe closer to 20-25% larger in the evening sky when we are watching it. And so just imagine the moon governs all of our bodies of water, you know, especially the oceans. So of course we're going to be affected by this energy. Now this lunar eclipse will be the last one in a series of 6 eclipses across the signs of Gemini and Sagittarius. So this will be the 4th eclipse we will have two more, the solar in June and then the solar in December. So this is the fourth of 6, and we started this eclipse cycle across Gemini and Sag last year, 2020, in May. Very powerful cycle. And because we're completing the full moon portion of it, or the lunar with Sag energy, I really wanted to bring out my decks that speak to the cosmic energy. Why? Because Sagittarius is the sign that rules our galactic center. And it's about the messages coming to us from our galactic center, from the galaxy. The 2 or 3 signs that speak to that more cosmic nature are Sagittarius, Pisces, and Aquarius. And so I always like to bring out my cosmic decks whenever we're looking at those sign languages here. And so Sagittarius is always about greater knowledge, wisdom, expansion, growth within our belief systems, achieving a higher or another level of perspective here. And so let's dive in and look at what are these messages here. And so to start off, I wanted to use the Starseed Oracle Guidebook by Rebecca Campbell. It's this beautiful deck right here. And I wanted to just see what are the messages from the cosmos. Because the Starseed Oracle, these are messages from the family of light, from the greater galaxies and cosmic energies out there in the universe and the multiverse. And so some of these messages, I was quite shocked. They came from pretty far away here. So the very first one we have is the lost lands, soul, memories, and gifts. You have done this before. You have done this before. So the message right away is about accessing the information of your soul. It's not just your human experience right here and right now in this lifetime that you're wanting to access. You're wanting to access the experience, the knowledge, and the information from your soul, which goes very nicely with the Sagittarius energy, which is the seeker of knowledge. You're being called right now to connect with the lost wisdom of your own soul. If you feel guided to make a change in your life, to step into a new career path, to birth a new creation, bring a new idea to life, leave a relationship and enter another one, but you feel unprepared, then this card is calling you to consider that you have done this before. Perhaps your soul has wisdom beyond what you can possibly imagine. Perhaps the intuitive hits and ideas that you've been receiving are divinely guided. Perhaps you've been preparing for this time all along. And so what you're being asked to do is to surrender to the intelligence of your own soul so that you can unlock the seeds of these ancient lands, so that you can then learn from all of the mistakes that you've made in other lifetimes, but also gain all of the wisdom and all of the gifts. So it's like you're unlocking the memories and the history of your soul, both the things that were painful, but also the things that were miraculous. And all of this is then ushering a new time in your life here. So what I'm being guided to say here and to see is that I think many of us are going to be having a very, very rich dream life during this eclipse cycle. And because it's the last lunar in this Gemini Sagittarius energy, this specific eclipse is absolutely telling us that this energy is going to be with us and working through us for the next 6 months until that last solar eclipse of this year on December 4th, okay? So we have from now up to December 4th where we get to really dive deeper into this energy, and I invite you to go on that journey here. You know, I love Sagittarius energy because Sagittarius, of all the 12 signs, speaks about the journey, that life is not about a destination or a goal. It's about the journey and it's about the process. And Sagittarius takes it on with optimism, with humor, with gusto, and with a sense of adventure. I love it. So let's look at the next message here from the Starseeds. The Seas of Mintaka, and we've gotten this one before. Seeing potential, bringing unconsciousness to light. See, the Mintakans used to be a very, very ancient cosmic race that lived far out there in the galaxies or the multiverse. And they lived on a world where there was no pollution, where the seas were crystal clear. You could see everything. There was no lack of clarity. And so the message that the Mintakans want to bring us here is that we come from this cosmic soup, this eternal cosmic ocean of creator, divine creator energy. And the cosmic ocean is actually the divine feminine creator energy. It's the seed of all creativity. And so it's telling you or asking you to see your potential at this time. What are you not seeing? What are you missing? It's wanting you to bring greater clarity into your life, to bring the unconsciousness to light. So this is a card about seeing things more clearly. It implies, though, that there might be some illusions that you may need to break. The Seas of Mintaka card represents this crystalline clarity of potential and possibility. It's about the ability and the choice to see the potential in all people and in all situations. This could be one of your natural traits, or it could be a sign that what you're currently doing has great potential for you at this time. Okay? Pulling this card also means that you may be called to bring to light any unconscious patterns of which you are unaware of. And that means it's time to give them light, to look at them and see them clearly and consciously, so that the patterns are not ruling you. You are guiding the patterns. There's a difference. When we don't have clarity, our patterns then guide us. Kind of like our emotions take over and guide us, as opposed to us being in control of our emotions and working with our emotions. So it's again showing you that this eclipse is here not only to allow you to see your greater potential, and that perhaps something you're involved in right now has great potential, but it's also asking you to look at your life through the lens of greater clarity and discernment. Beautiful message. And then the third message, and we've gotten this one before too, are the 7 star sisters. These are, I believe, the Pleiadian sisters, birthing creations. Okay, so that goes along with potential, right? You are birthing new creations, bringing into being new potentialities. They represent the tapestry of life and personal self-expression. So the 7 sisters, they were midwives, but they were also like the 7 muses. They were very, very creative energies in the universe. So what are the 7 sisters or the muses wanting to bring to birth in your life? Perhaps you are an artist, and there's a lot of creative ideas that want to be birthed through you. Perhaps you are involved in midwifery, or maybe you're involved in the birthing process in some form. But you know, being a midwife is also about giving birth to something big. So all of these messages so far are about accessing our cosmic wisdom and the cosmic knowledge of our soul. The lost lands are all those parts of who we are that we're bringing back into ourselves. Because on this ascension pathway, it's about the unification of every fragment of our soul. We're coming in to sovereignty, and personal sovereignty means soul, not only soul awareness, but soul wholeness, where all the fragments that we've left behind on other worlds or past lives, we're bringing it back to us now. And so that's what that Lost Lands is about. And the Mintakans are here to help us as well as the seven sisters and the Pleiadians. So call on these beautiful galactic energies. You know, as I was pulling these cards, getting ready for this, I could feel the presence of profound energy in my room. Whenever I pull from this deck, I can't even describe it. I'm at a loss for words, the energy that comes in here. And so this is an invitation, as you're watching this, to call these energies to come work with you and to come live with you right now, because I guarantee you they are going to change your life. And the last message we have here is perspective. None of this actually matters. Zoom out, find the common ground. There's 3 very, very significant messages there. None of this matters. Think about this. The Earth is just one small little planet in a giant solar system that's a very small solar system in a very large galaxy that's part of a universe that then is part of a multiverse. So it's asking you to gain perspective, that this is one lifetime that you're on among so many lifetimes. So stop taking things personally. Look up is the word I'm getting here. Stop looking down. Look up into the stars. Look at the history of your soul. Recognize that you are so much more than you could possibly imagine. So that in this lifetime, to take things personally and to get caught in the small stuff is actually, doesn't matter a damn. Excuse my language. Doesn't matter at all, because you're so much more than that. And so it's asking you as well to zoom out. Zoom out so you can gain a greater perspective of your life, okay? Don't get entrenched in drama. Be non-attached. Non-attachment is the lesson here, as well as expanding upon your perspective. And lastly, find the common ground that you share with others. So the last message here is about finding what binds us together, not what separates us. Find what unites us. So let me read from this. This moment is a breath in the timeline of your life. This life is a fleeting moment in the tapestry of your soul's experience. Your soul's experience is a flash in the timeline of the known universe. And the known universe is a grain of sand in the unknown universe. Take a moment to see the bigger picture, to find the common ground. That also means find the common pattern of your soul. We all have one. Mine is the fact that I'm a mystic. I'm an intuitive, and that has been a pattern I have brought with me from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. I am a seeker of the truth, always. To find deep compassion in your heart, to gain a greater perspective of humanity in this fleeting moment, in the timeline of your soul's existence, in the timeline of all that is, was, and ever will be. So the question here is, how are you being called to change your perspective, to expand upon it right now, to grow it? Because that is the ultimate arrow of the sign of Sagittarius. And you know, in a lunar eclipse, in that moment when the earth blocks the light of the sun to the moon, the energy of the moon is eclipsed, and we get to access the deepest patterns of our being in those hours and the hours preceding it, and in the 2 weeks coming up to it, which we are in right now. So I guarantee you, each and every one of you listening to this today, you've already seen patterns starting to show up. Why? For 2 reasons. One, it's the 2 weeks when this always starts approximately 2 weeks as we go towards the eclipse. But also, we're in the shadow of Mercury right now. And Mercury goes retrograde on May 29th. So we're not only going into this blood moon, supermoon lunar eclipse, we're also in the shadow of Mercury. And this lunar eclipse is happening in very early degrees of Sagittarius, and it is conjuncting the south node in Sag, whereas the sun, which is the illumination, is conjuncting the north node in Gemini. And in astrology, the south node speaks to our soul's record, the Akashic records of our lifetimes and our soul's journey, and how to tap into that. So we're back to the lost lands, right? About tapping into the cosmic field of our soul. That's one of the messages here, that there's so much there, so much wisdom, so much knowledge. You are far greater than you could possibly imagine. I'm going to say that a number of times here, to get you outside of this small-minded thinking, because that is the only thing that is holding you down right now. The small-minded thinking, the belief that you cannot have your dreams come true, the belief that you are not enough. You are more than enough, and you can have anything you truly desire as long as it is in alignment with your soul and your highest good. No, you cannot have everything you desire when it is not in alignment with that. Yeah, that's an important thing to look at as well here. So, in the lunar eclipse, we're releasing things too. We're not only tapping in to our Akashic soul records and our wisdom from ancient worlds and ancient experiences, and perhaps that's even our ancient wisdom on this planet in this lifetime. Maybe there's things we've forgotten, lessons we've learned in this lifetime that we are suddenly remembering again. Very important to think about that. The other message here, though, is this eclipse is allowing us to also see the patterns we need to let go of, so that when the sun, the earth moves past the eclipse point, the sun's light then begins to illuminate the moon again. And in that moment, the sun becomes the illuminator in the sign of Gemini, where we get to perhaps see something that we were blind to, get a different perspective. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Rewind, thank you. Rewind, that's a Mercury in retrograde word. During the illumination part of the sun on the other side of the lunar eclipse, the sun in Gemini is bringing in a new level of clarity. That's what I wanted to say here. So let's look at the other messages here, because I know they're going to be speaking to what I just talked about. So I wanted to ask for the energy oracle cards from Sandra Ann Taylor to bring in some extra guidance here. And we have Archangel Michael, the first chakra. Of course he's here because he's the warrior. He's the spiritual warrior. He's telling us that we are protected on this journey. He is watching over us with his legions of light. But also Archangel Michael comes in when we're getting ready to leap forward on our soul's mission. So Archangel Michael is always there to help us on our mission here on the earth, but he's also here to tell us that we have the courage to move forward, that it's time to move forward. And see how we have that beautiful orb of reddish pink light around the first chakra? He's telling us that we have the courage, that it's time to take action, that we need to move through our fears to do so, that he's here to help us do that. But also, one of the things he's also telling us is that we are protected on this journey, and that the first chakra is about stability and security. And that maybe what's holding us back is that fear that if we do take that leap forward, we don't have enough solid ground awaiting us. And he's letting you know you're going to be okay. I've got your back. It's time to take that leap forward. However, if you feel like you need to give this a little longer time and build your security up a little more so that you feel more stable to take that leap, then you've absolutely got to follow that inner guidance. So Archangel Michael was followed by victory. And I love it because that's the goddess Nike. And she's in my goddess message that I put out last week. It's about victory, wearing the crown. Yeah, so it's time for you to be successful, to be victorious in your life. And you will be that way when you take that courageous leap, because that courageous leap is meant to lead you into greater success and greater victory in your life. The other message with victory is it's time to also not wear your laurels, but to really enjoy the time that you're in right now. And that was the other message I got from Nike, from the Goddess Oracle deck, was to enjoy all of the abundance and the achievements that you've thus attained in your life, to sit back and really be in the moment of honoring who you are, of honoring how far you've come. It's a time of self-love and self-respect is what I'm getting here. But please know that there's more successes awaiting you. And if you're wondering about something going on in your life, her message is for you is that you will be victorious here. You will be successful. Now, there is a downside to her message, though, and that is be careful of pride, please, because victory needs to come from the heart, not the ego, because pride comes from the ego. And let's look at the last couple messages here. I felt like it was coming. Attachment. So we will be victorious. We will attain what we need to attain when we can let go of what does not serve us. You know, when I see this card right away, I see the addiction, dependence card, deception card from the romance angels. So I get that for some of us, there could be a codependency issue. There could be some form of addiction. You know, and addictions can be anything. You know, it doesn't have to be food or drugs or alcohol. Addiction can be anything. It can be an addiction to a certain thought form or a certain way of always communicating. So be aware of your attachments. Look at what they are right now and seek to set yourself free. So in this card, I'm seeing her wanting to unleash, set herself free from what binds her here. So what's holding you back? What is limiting you here? And then also she's taking off the mask. She doesn't want to carry any illusions with her. So this is a card about breaking free of attachment, which is also the Devil card in the Tarot, but also breaking through our illusions. Again, we're back to that message of seeking really deep clarity here. We don't want to bring self-deception or self-illusion with us on this journey. And when we're able to break through the attachments, we will absolutely be victorious, and we will come on to the temple path. That's the ascension path. The temple path is showing you the future that awaits you here. But it's also telling you that your spiritual body is what's guiding you here. So if you want to attain this beautiful victory and be successful, you've got to break through your attachments and your illusions, and you also have to connect and allow your inner spirit to be your guide. You've got to put yourself on the spiritual path and call in all of the beautiful divine guides that are working with you at this time. That's what all those beautiful orbs of light are. Those are your angels and your guides and your ancestors. So the energy here is profound in terms of all of the help that we have, because we've got our angels, our guides, our ancestors, the Pleiadians, the Seven Sisters, the Mintakans, and they're all here to help us be victorious. And Archangel Michael to connect us even further with our courage, right? And so let's look at the very last card here, the World. I love that. And there it is, number 2911. You are manifesting the world. But you are doing that because you are moving through your fear. See, Archangel Michael, the first chakra, is telling you to move through your fear. And you're moving through your attachments addictions, illusions, whatever it is you've been telling yourself that's actually not true. So it's when we do that that we can finally see with clarity and we can see the world that awaits us. This is a beautiful card. There's a new world awaiting us here. But there's also a new world that we are creating, okay? Because we are in the Aquarius age now. We are creating a new earth. So there's a lot of multiple messages here. And what is your mission in creating this new earth? Because you're on the garden pathway now. What is your mission in creating this new earth? And how do you need to broaden and expand and change your perspective to create this new earth and to create this new world that you want for yourself? So finally, I called on the Sirian Starseed Tarot to bring us our very last guidance messages here. And we have the Three of Orbs. So that's the Three of Swords. Yes, in the traditional tarot, the Three of Swords is usually a card of loss, of pain. But it's also a card where it's always having, what's the word I want to say? Where you're always getting involved in third-party situations, whether it's three people, whether it's you, another, and the third party is your work, or it's your money, or it's your attachments, or it's your addictions. The Three of Orbs or the Three of Swords is asking you to look at what is that third energy that you're bringing in that maybe isn't healthy, and that would be the orb on the bottom, the one that's not fully illuminated by the lightning, okay? So the lightning in this card is the illumination, and it's asking you to make a choice. Are you going to seek to be illuminated here, or are you going to stay at the lowest level of that orb, and are you going to stay in that suffering and pain? Because in this deck, this is a card that's showing you that the lightning is here to change your world in an instant. It's to take you out of whatever suffering or loss or pain that you feel you've been in. And I'm sensing that a lot of you, it's more about fear. It's about perhaps fear of loss, fear that if you were to take that giant leap forward, are you ready? And again, from the Lost Lands, what are we being told? You are more ready than you could possibly imagine. You have been preparing for this for lifetimes. So get out of your head, please, because that's the other message here. Your mind is not helping you here. And what you're being called to do is illuminate your thoughts, to make them clear, to bring your thoughts to a higher perspective. And there we go. The Sage of Crystals, that's the Queen of Pentacles. Why are you bringing your thoughts to a higher perspective? Because guess what? The world's awaiting you, right? The Queen of Pentacles, she's holding a world in a way in her hands. I believe that's like a crystal skull. She's holding everything she ever dreamed of right there in the palm of her hands. You can attain whatever you want here. You really, truly can, but you do have to get out of your mental stuff. We all have it. We all have self-doubt. We all have self-limitation that we're working through. But you can do it because the Queen of Pentacles is here. She's also telling you that there's great abundance around you right now. And this cycle is coming in with this eclipse to offer you great abundance and success. So I really think the Queen of Pentacles goes along with the Nike message. And then, wouldn't you believe it, we have the Empress, abundance. In this deck, though, she's a representation of the Cosmic Mother. And she is swimming in the cosmic ocean of all that is, the void of all potentiality. So the biggest message I'm getting here today is that this lunar eclipse is about potentiality. It's about accessing your soul's mission, your soul's wisdom, your Akashic records, both on an earthly level and a cosmic level and an ancestral level, and diving in to that ocean of potentiality, and you deciding what pathway you want to choose. And abundance and love is awaiting you, because the Empress holds everything. She holds love, she holds creativity, she holds prosperity, she holds fertility, she holds all well-being, okay, which is beautiful. Now, with the Empress, I guess there's always a little bit of a message there, like with Nike. You know, be careful that you do not allow yourself to fall back into pride. With the Empress, the key is to always share what you achieve. When you share it with others always, then your abundance will always continue to grow. So it's that sharing of love, that sharing of prosperity, that sharing of creativity that is the key message here. And the last message is the star. We're going to the stars now. This is the card of ascension in this deck. We are ascending. And so I love it. This lunar eclipse is pointing to the stars, just like its symbol, the centaur, is, right? I love it. It's about accessing the greater knowledge. But the star is about reaching for the stars, reaching for your dreams. This is not a time to compromise on who you are, on your authenticity, on what you really truly want. The universe, the multiverse, the cosmos is bending down on its knees to help you through this, to help bring your dreams into reality. Okay, that is a beautiful message. The last message from the star, though, is also a message of healing, because it's the heart, it's the card of the healer. You know, so those of you that are on a healing pathway, I'm being told to tell you, keep going. You're going in the right direction. And you're healing, whatever field of the healing pathway you're on, it's about ready to move forward, leap forward in leaps and bounds. Follow that direction, please, because you are on your mission now. Follow your star. And know that if there's anything in your life that needs to still be healed, this is a card telling you that you will achieve that healing. Victory will be yours. Alrighty, those are beautiful messages, and so I'm going to leave it there. And I just want to say that remember, this journey is over the next 6 months, okay? So pace yourself through it. You don't have to take a leap just yet. The lunar eclipse is happening 3 days before Mercury goes retrograde, and Mercury retrogrades come in to slow us down, to tell us to take a breather, rest, which I love because the Queen of Pentacles is kind of saying, you know, really take a moment to be in the now, to love all the things you have achieved, to go out and celebrate you right now. There's no need to make a decision overnight here. However, for others of you, you're going to need to make those decisions. The ideal time, though, to make new decisions and to jump onto new pathways here, you have two. You can either wait for Mercury to go direct on June 22nd and afterwards, or you can wait for the solar eclipse on June 10th. Even though Mercury is still retrograde, that solar eclipse is also a new Mercury. So it's opening up a really, really big pathway for new things to come in. Okay, so those are the 2 dates. I recommend, if you can wait to sign contracts or to jump onto something brand new, if you can wait till June 10th, 11th, or even the end of June, please do so. If you cannot, though, just sit in inner guidance, ask your intuition what best days are feeling right to you right now. And the other rule of thumb with Mercury retrograde is the one day you really don't want to sign a contract on or make a very big important decision is within the first 24 hours and the day of the retrograde. So Mercury's going retrograde on the 29th of May. So I'm going to say that on the 28th and the 29th and maybe even the 30th would be the 3 blockout days that I wouldn't make those decisions on. Okay? Anything before that, And anything after that, simply consult with your own inner soul guidance, okay? I am only the messenger. Your intuition will always trump mine. So stay tuned, because I'm going to be posting another video within the week. It's going to be a pick a card where I'm asking from 3 different tarot decks, what are the messages of love and romance that this Mercury retrograde is bringing through? So stay tuned. Sending you all blessings and love.